every sign's strongest hours today, and the one stretch that suits routine work rather than fresh starts are both coming in this reading. Welcome and a calm Tuesday to you. These readings are cast from your Vedic Moon sign, the sidereal moon, with the houses counted from there. So please listen under your moon sign rather than your birthday sign. Readings today are from your moon sign. The link below finds yours in 10 seconds. Our Panchanga is anchored to New Delhi. The Tithi is Krishna Chaturdashi, running until 1:53 at night tomorrow, a completing, clearing sort of day rather than a launching one. Punarvasu Nakshatra holds until 10:09 in the morning, so early hours favor returning to something you left unfinished. Rahu Kala falls from 3:45 in the afternoon to 5:24 in the evening. Keep that window for routine work and begin fresh things on either side of it. Aries, today your strength is quieter than usual, and the steadiest thing you can do is come back to your own ground before you push anywhere. Yesterday's mood carried a lighter, more mobile quality, with your mind moving easily across small errands and short conversations. Today the Sun, Mercury, the Moon and an exalted Jupiter all gather in your 4th house, the place of home, family and inner foundation. So work goes best when you handle it from a settled base rather than on the move. Choose the task you can finish sitting still and let the rest wait. Your period Lord Mars stands in Gemini in your 3rd house of courage and short journeys, and this is your true nature showing itself. Courage reaches you before caution does. Aries, so a direct word spoken kindly clears more than a week of hinting. With Venus debilitated in your 6th house of daily work and service, keep your routine simple today and give your body an honest rest after the Rahu Kala window this afternoon. The day began in motion and ends in belonging, so let your care land close to home. Find someone carrying something heavy, literally or practically, and take one end of it, expecting nothing back. Wishing you a calm and steady day ahead. Taurus, today favors light, honest exchanges. The smallest conversation you start is where the day opens up for you. Yesterday, your attention sat closer to home and to what you hold, and the mood may have felt steady but a little inward. Now the Sun, Moon in her own sign, Mercury and an exalted Jupiter all gather in your 3rd house of courage, siblings and short journeys, which supports you in speaking first, making the call, taking the short trip. Your period Lord Mars sits in Gemini in your 2nd house of money and what you value, so keep money talk plain and unhurried. Taurus, you are ruled by Venus. You build slowly and you build things that hold. So a message sent today can quietly become something lasting. In partnership matters, say the ordinary thing out loud rather than saving it. Saturn, in your 11th house of gains and networks, cast its full 3rd aspect. So friendships ask for patience. Energy is best spent in short bursts. Nakshatra Punarvasu runs until 10:09 in the morning, a kind window for beginnings. That is the day. Small steps, real ground. Let your act of care be a call to someone who has been alone lately, asking nothing back. Let today be simple. That is enough. Gemini, today favors the honest word about money, because what you say and what you value are sitting in the same room. Yesterday, the moon rode your own sign, the house of self and vitality, so your mind carried the day easily and your thoughts moved with unusual lightness. Now the Sun, Moon Mercury and an exalted Jupiter all gather in your second house, the house of money, possessions, and what you truly value, which makes this a good window for reviewing your earnings, your spending, and the promises you make about both. Speak plainly about numbers today, and something you have been circling will finally settle into a clear figure. Mercury rules you, Gemini, so curiosity is your engine, and connection costs you no effort at all. That same ease is what makes a money conversation land gently now, especially before Punarvasu ends at 10:09 in the morning. Mars, today's period lord, sits in your own sign, so your energy runs forward and quickly. Keep one slower stretch, perhaps between 3:45 in the afternoon and 5:24 in the evening, for rest rather than new starts. The day begins in yourself and lands in what you value. Let one act of care sit inside that. Give your seat, your place in line, or an hour of your time to someone who needs it more, and ask nothing back. May something small go beautifully right for you today. Cancer, today the sky comes home to you, and that means your own presence is the most persuasive thing you carry. Yesterday the moon moved through your 12th house of rest and retreat, so a quieter, more inward pull was likely, and you may have felt slightly withdrawn from the noise. Now the Sun, Mercury and an exalted Jupiter gather in your first house of self and vitality. Alongside the moon in its own sign, work conversations favor you when you speak plainly rather than over-prepare. Say the simple version first. In relationships, Cancer, your ruler is the moon, and you read a room before anyone in it says so. Trust that today, because Mars, your period lord, sits in Gemini in your 12th house, where private processing is easier than debate. Choose the one honest sentence over the long explanation, and here is the payoff promised. That plainness lands better than polish. For energy, the Punarvasu Nakshatra holds until 10:09 in the morning, a good window for anything you want to begin gently. Rahu Kala runs 3:45 in the afternoon to 5:24 in the evening, so keep that stretch for routine work. The retreat has become arrival. Today, patiently teach someone the thing they keep struggling with, asking nothing back. Your free full chart is waiting on the website. Carry this lightly and have a truly good day. Leo, today rewards a quieter kind of leadership, less output, more inward gathering, and you lose nothing by choosing it. Yesterday put you among friends and wider networks, so today's turn inward may feel like a sudden drop in volume. The Sun, Mercury and a strong Jupiter are all moving through your 12th house, the place of rest, retreat and letting go. So at work your best hours, go to closing loops rather than opening new ones. Clear the backlog, nobody sees. Mars, your period lord, sits in Gemini in your 11th house of gains and networks, which supports one honest message to a colleague or friend who can move something along for you. In relationships, Leo, that Gemini support pays out plainly. Reach out first and keep it warm and brief. Your ruler is the Sun, and warmth arrives ahead of you before you have spoken a word, so people will meet you halfway. For energy, protect sleep and take the afternoon gently rather than pushing. The day asks for less, and giving it less is the whole skill. Before evening, look for something useful sitting unused in your home and pass it to someone who genuinely needs it, expecting nothing at all in return. The day is yours to shape. shape it kindly. Virgo, today favors your wider circle. The people who already believe in you are the doorway. Yesterday, the mind was busy with career and public standing, and you likely felt watched, measured, a little on show. Today loosens that. The Sun, Mercury, and an exalted Jupiter gather in your 11th, the house of gains, friends, and networks, with the Moon there in her own sign. So, work conversations move best through allies rather than formal channels. Ask a friend, not a firm. Mars, your period lord, sits in Gemini in your 10th of career and casts its full aspect back onto your 7th of partnership, where retrograde Saturn also looks across, which means agreements want patience and plain wording today rather than speed. That is the payoff of leaning on your circle. Someone in it will help you find the right sentence. Precision is instinct for you, Virgo, and quiet service is the shape your care takes. So let that same care rest your body too. Steady food, steady hours, nothing heroic. The day that began with performance ends with belonging. Somewhere in it, say the encouraging word you have been meaning to say to someone, unasked, expecting nothing at all. Move through today at your own pace. It is the right one. Libra, your visibility is the real story today, and it favors being seen doing steady work rather than announcing it. Yesterday leaned toward the quieter ninth house of belief and learning, so you may have spent it thinking more than moving, and that pause was useful. Today the Sun, Mercury, and an exalted Jupiter gather in your 10th house of career and public standing, alongside the Moon in the sign it rules, which means your professional phase carries unusual light. Put your name on the piece of work you are proudest of. Venus rules you, Libra, and you find the balance point in almost any room, so the credit you take today will still feel fair to everyone in it. Venus sits debilitated in your 12th house of retreat and expense, which simply asks you to keep spending modest and let closeness be quiet rather than performed. A small honest word matters more than a grand gesture. Mars, your period lord, moves through Gemini in your 9th, supporting energy for reading, teaching, and short outward journeys. The quiet thinking of yesterday becomes visible good work today. Somewhere at home or at work, finish a small chore that was never assigned to you and let no one know it was you. May the day meet you kindly and leave you a little lighter. Scorpio, today opens a door in your mind, and what you learn now has the weight to reshape how you work for months. Yesterday, the Moon moved through your 8th house of shared resources and deep change, so a quieter, more inward mood was natural. Today, the Sun, Mercury, and an exalted Jupiter gather in your 9th house of belief, learning, and long journeys, which favor study, teaching, mentors, and bigger picture planning in your work. Take 1 hour to learn the thing you have been postponing. Your period lord, Mars, sits in your 8th house from Gemini, and since Mars rules you, Scorpio, you go deep where others skim, and your resilience is easy to underestimate. In relationships, that depth is best offered as honesty rather than intensity. Say the plain thing kindly. Jupiter in your 9th casts its full 5th aspect, which supports steady, hopeful energy through the day. So keep your pace measured rather than driven, and let Tuesday's momentum rest by 1:53 at night tomorrow when this tithi closes. That hour of learning you set aside is where today's inward turn finally becomes forward motion. Before the evening ends, thank someone whose work usually goes unnoticed, asking nothing back. Whatever today asks of you, you have met harder days than this. Sagittarius, today rewards a softer pace and an honest question over a fast answer. Yesterday, the moon sat in your seventh house of partnership and close alliances, and that steadiness likely made conversation feel easy. Today, the moon, sun, Mercury, and an exalted Jupiter gather in your eighth house of shared resources and deep change. So, money that belongs to two people, joint accounts, dues, repayments, deserves your patience rather than speed. Your period lord Mars sits in Gemini in your seventh house and casts its full aspect back across you, which can make a partner or colleague sound blunter than they mean. Take their words at face value, not as a verdict. Ruled by Jupiter, optimism is your default, and the honest search matters to you more than arriving, Sagittarius. So let curiosity carry you where certainty cannot. Chandrashtama runs for you today and lives at 6:06 on Thursday morning. So keep the day light, eat on time, and rest earlier than usual. Saturn in your fourth house of home casts its full 10th aspect, asking you to protect your inner quiet. That softer pace is the whole lesson today. If someone you know is unwell, sit with them and let them set the pace, asking nothing back. Let today be useful rather than perfect. Capricorn, today favors meeting people halfway, and that is where the whole day opens for you. Yesterday, the moon moved through your sixth house of daily work, health, and routine. So the pull was toward tasks and small repairs rather than company. Now the moon joins the sun, Mercury, and an exalted Jupiter in your seventh house of partnership and close alliances, which means conversations, agreements, and shared plans carry the weight today. Ruled by Saturn, you play the long game by nature, not by discipline. So let a partner or client see the patient version of your thinking rather than a rushed answer. Capricorn, keep the finer negotiations clear of the window from 3:45 in the afternoon to 5:24 in the evening, and use that stretch for review instead. In relationships, Jupiter's full aspect from that same seventh house supports generous listening, so ask one question more than you normally would. For energy, Mars sits in your sixth house of routine and effort, which supports steady work in shorter blocks with real pauses between them. The day that began in duty ends in company, and that is the arc. Somewhere today, share food with someone who's hungry, quietly, expecting nothing back at all. Walk gently today and let the day come to you. Aquarius, your mind moves with unusual ease today, and the ordinary tasks in front of you are exactly where that ease wants to be spent. Yesterday, the moon opened in your fifth house of creativity, romance, and children, so the day likely carried a more playful, expressive mood. Today, the sun, Mercury, the moon in its own sign, and an exalted Jupiter all gather in your sixth house of daily work, health, and routine. That means the small, unglamorous jobs, the backlog, the tidy up, the thing you keep postponing, will move more smoothly than they have in a while. Pick one and start there. Saturn, your ruler, sits retrograde in your second house of money and speech, and this suits you. You think from an angle nobody else tried, So let that angle go into reviewing what you spend and how you say things rather than rushing a new commitment. Aquarius with Mars, today's period Lord in Gemini in your fifth house. Your energy is quick and social, so give conversations your patience. And with Ketu in your seventh house, partners may seem a little distant. Assume nothing, simply ask. This is a good day to set out water or a little food for the birds or a stray animal, asking nothing back. May today bring you one moment worth remembering. Pisces, your imagination is the most practical tool you own today, so let it lead. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house 4, your home and inner ground, with Saturn retrograde in your own sign, asking patience of you, and that patience likely felt long. Today, the Sun, Mercury, and an exalted Jupiter gather in your fifth house of creativity and romance, which favors first drafts, playful problem solving, and ideas you have been carrying quietly. Sketch one of them before Punarvasu ends at 10:09 in the morning. In relationships, Venus sits in your seventh house of partnership and casts its full seventh aspect back toward you, so warmth is available, though it asks for softness rather than cleverness. Pisces, you are ruled by Jupiter. Compassion moves you first, and imagination reaches where analysis cannot. That same Jupiter in your fifth casts its full ninth aspect, supporting a generous, hopeful mood for energy. Mars in Gemini, as today's period, Lord keeps your attention busy. So keep the afternoon between 3:45 in the afternoon and 5:24 in the evening for lighter tasks. The patience of yesterday opens into today's brightness. Give someone your full, unhurried attention while they speak, wanting nothing from it. Go easy on yourself today. The stars are patient, and you can be too. May this day treat you gently, and may you meet it with an open heart, steady hands, and the patience to let things unfold at their own pace. Whatever the sky is doing overhead, remember that your ordinary choices still carry the most weight. The work you finish with care, the words you soften before speaking, the rest you finally allow yourself. Move through today at a pace you can sustain. Stay honest with the people who trust you, and let one small kindness find its way into someone's afternoon. If today's sky was useful, subscribing keeps it coming every morning.